Now, if you ask me, and I had to name one brand that has experienced extraordinary growth in the last few years within the source unit segment, I think the choice is pretty obvious. We're talking, of course, about Boss Elite. You know, that brand that's been around forever. Have you seen what they've been up to in source units? Well, if you haven't, buckle in because we're going to be covering it right here today on CMA Networks, brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Boss Elite. And it starts now. What's going on, everybody? And thanks for tuning in to another CMA Network session presented by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and as promised, we are talking about source units within the source unit category, and we've come across a brand that has been making waves. It's been making more than waves. This brand literally has come up with so many different models that are relevant and absolutely loaded with features, and we're happy today to have not only one, but two product specialists joining us. We have, in fact, both DOUG KERN, who's the Vice President of Sales, as well as Javier Vergara, who's their Director of Product Development. DOUG, first question I want to ask you, I know we got a lot to cover, but can you break down what it is that we're going to be discussing today?
Hey, Ben, good to be back. Thank you for having us. Today, we're going to be covering on the source unit side and focusing on our floating head units up to the sizes that now go up to 14-inch and all the added features, the new formats and styling. And it's a lot to cover, but out of the almost 30 units we have, we're going to focus mainly on about 4 of them.
DOUG, I think I heard you say 14-inch, but we're going to get into that. But before we do that, a quick message from our sponsor, SiriusXM, who is reminding dealers why they love it. And when we come back, Boss Elite. Don't you dare go away.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, thanks for coming back. So we're going to get into it. I guess my first question is going to go to DOUG. DOUG, there has been some significant growth in this category for Boss Audio, more specifically in the source units. Why don't you speak to us a little bit about that growth? What do you think it's attributed to? Maybe the evolution of the products that we see happening right before us, and what is the market telling you?
Well, yeah, Boss has been around a long time, where since 1989. Over the last 4 or 5 years, the growth we have gone through has just been significant. And the biggest part of that growth has been the source units. And I think it all has to do with the CarPlay, Android Auto capabilities. And that's what the consumer is looking for. They're not coming in just for a specific brand. They're coming in to ask for, hey, I want my phone to work with my stereo. I want to see my phone on the screen and so forth. And that's where we as a company have just really come through in terms of delivery over the past few years with all the things that's gone on. And the reception has just been excellent. The performance has been excellent. The value for the dollar has been excellent. This is to the dealer, to the consumer, and everyone. So with that, and we're continuing to improve. And with our engineer and head of product development, Javier here, and his background and his experience, you're going to only see better product and more styles, features, and it's just going to continue to grow for us. And one thing, just so you know, Boss over the last 3 years, 2020, 2021, 2022, has been right up there in the top as a top-selling brand overall. In 2022, we were the #2 brand in terms of total units sold of in-dash video receivers. And that's in units. In dollars, we were the #4. And, that's all on MPD results and so forth. but the growth is there. The recognition of the brand is there. And it, we stand behind that. And we'll talk more about warranty and so forth, throughout this meeting. So.
It's undeniable, Doug, the growth. We see it out there in the shops. We know that the reception from the consumers has been phenomenal. And you're right, feature-based sales is exactly what's going on, which tasks Mr. Javier here with a challenge because, back in the day, there wasn't so much technology. And as the product development manager, I can see the challenges there. When you look at the line from 2 years ago up until what we're going to be talking about today, what were some of the challenges for you when it comes to designing the product and the type of features that you wanted to make sure were included in this new offering?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of product research the last few years, and a few of the key features that we are actually upgrading are the UI, the HMI. Basically, we're going to make it a lot easier to use, easier to identify icons, functionality, the way the menus are structured. We are actually making a lot of improvements so that the user experience becomes seamless.
Okay, so we're getting an improved user interface, which is great. Now, what have you done as far as physical improvements? Maybe we can talk about the screen resolution. And what about buttons? Because people love buttons, don't they?
So one of the things we're doing, we're moving away from capacitive touch buttons and adding mechanical buttons for a better user experience. Additionally, we're adding a few more buttons so that the customers have quick access to features such as navigation and direct access to camera. So if you have a review camera, you can easily press the button, and if you're toying something, you can easily switch over to look at the display while you're toying. Additionally, we are adding now HD quality video. So our resolution has been improved from 480. Now we're going up to from the previous units, we went to 1024 by 600, and now we're moving up to 720p. So you're gonna start to see a more vibrant display on our units.
Thank you, Javier. It looks like we're getting some better screens and a better tactile experience when it comes to functionality. Now, Doug, you had mentioned that consumers today, they know what they're looking for. They might not know the brand or the model, but they know what they want based on functionality. And a big part of that functionality, Doug, has to do with the type of connectivity that they can have with their new source unit. Maybe it's music, maybe it's phone calls, maybe it's other. Can you tell us more about that?
Well, all of our units, Ben, they're CarPlay and Android Auto. They're Bluetooth capable for wireless streaming, hands-free calling, and so forth. But, the whole connectivity of it, gives that consumer, he sits in the car, doesn't have to do a thing, and his phone or her phone will connect to the unit wirelessly. It's right there. They do have the option of plugging in the wire if they need a charge, but more and more people are just, their phones stay charged for days. They don't usually have to worry about that in their car anymore.
So we've got the Bluetooth, we've got the hands-free, we've got the ever-popular CarPlay and Android Auto, all wireless. Now I'm going to ask you the big question. There's a brand that we're, kind of we play favorites to. It's on my head. Do your units have Sirius XM capability?
Ben, the units we've been selling for the past couple years do not have the Sirius XM capability, but with Javier on board, you'll see Sirius XM capability on all of our new floating head units. And one of our double DINs, our wireless and wired double DIN model. But yeah, that's an important feature. We've had a lot of requests for them. The dealers want it. It gives an added sale for them if they get the Sirius XM adapter added to the sale. So it's a big feature that we're excited to be adding, and we'll be delivering those units probably fourth quarter of 2023.
Well, Doug, that is excellent news. Thank you so much. Sirius XM obviously adds tremendous value, as you had mentioned, and that is a great add-on and feature for these new Boss Elite units. Now, going back to you, Javier, let's talk a little bit more spec here, because along with this higher resolution screen, How is that going to affect camera inputs? Because as you know, that's a big thing today too. Front cameras, rear cameras, auxiliary cameras, multiple inputs. Where do these new units stand as far as options for cameras and their performance?
Yeah, these units are two camera capable, so we have front and rear camera. They're also HD camera compatible, so you're going to have a higher resolution capability with our new head units.
All right, so I think we've ran through a huge checklist of awesome features that everybody's looking for. But there's another component to this, and as a dealer tuning in, there's some information you need to know about. So, Doug, talk to us about how Boss Elite treats their dealers as far as price protection as well as warranty.
Well, Ben, probably one of the greatest things and one of the most helpful things and the biggest reason of Boss's growth has been how we do take care of our customers and the products that we do have. But basically, we offer probably one of the best warranties in the industry. On head units alone, it's 3 years automatic. There is an extended warranty if beyond that, if that dealer is doing the install. We also, the biggest positive thing that has been for the dealers, it's map protected. We enforce map pricing. We offer map protection and so forth. So with that, we've done a lot of programs and a lot of promos where we give the dealers, special promo values where they can drop to the map but still maintain their margins, their dollars, and it's been very, very effective and positive for the growth of our company.
All right, so we've gone through all these features. Now, you mentioned there's a couple key models that you just wanted to highlight quickly so the dealers know what these new models are. And if I'm not mistaken, Doug, these are models that all feature all these benefits that we talked about today. Kindly, please walk us through these models that you had in mind.
Yeah, Ben, I'm going to start with the number one selling unit that we've had that's been a top seller in the industry for the past 3 years. And that's our 7-inch double DIN model. It's currently called a BE7ACP. We are adding a .X to that, which adds all the features we've been talking about in terms of the Sirius XM, the new resolution, the new GUI to it, and so forth. And that is a wired model. We do offer it. We're coming out with the same model, but in a wireless version. So those are the top two sellers. But then where we're seeing the biggest growth is on these floating screens. And we have a 9-inch model, which is the BE9ACP.WX.
Correct.
And then we also have a 10-inch model, which will be the BE10ACP.WX. And then we also have a 12 and a 14-inch. Again, it's a 12.WX and a 14.WX. And that's where we're so excited for what's coming our way, because the people that see these screens, whether it's the consumer, the dealers, they look at it, they go, oh, that's way too big. But then they see it turned on, power up, and they're going, no, that'll be great in my car. That'll work in this car. So those are the items we're focusing on, basically the double DIN, and then the 9, 10, 12, and 14-inch.
And I wanted to finish this interview with just one last question. I'm going to direct this question to Javier. I mean, obviously, your role here is simple. You want to develop the product and make sure it's feature packed. What you guys take so much input from your dealers and requests. I can see already with the improvements that you've made to these new units that you've applied yourself and made these new features happen. What can we expect from Boss Elite down the road in the near future as far as upgrades are concerned?
Ben, you're right. We're constantly listening to our consumers, our dealer base. They're constantly giving us feedback on features they would like to see from our brand. We have done the research. We are implementing some features in the background. So stay tuned. There's definitely more to come.
All right. What you heard there was a direct testimonial from both DOUG KERN and Javier Vergara, both from Boss Audio, giving us the details on this new lineup of source units coming to you from Boss Elite. large format, gotta love it. If this tickles your fancy and you'd like to find out more information, I recommend you check out their website found at bossaudio.com. Now, if you happen to be a Canadian dealer tuning in, then you need to know that the Canadian distributor for Boss Elite is in fact Gemsen, and they can be contacted over at gemsen.com. On that note, I reached out to our good friend Dave Singh over at Gemsen to get his feedback and a little bit of Canadian perspective on how Boss Elite is doing in Canada. Dave, I have a question for you. Boss Elite obviously has been something that you've held close, almost like a secret weapon. And wouldn't you know it, in these last 2-3 years, it has absolutely exploded. So give us a little bit of story behind how the performance of this brand is doing in Canada for Gemsen.
Hey Ben, like Doug mentioned earlier, in 2022, Boss Audio was number 2 in terms of unit sales, and they were number 4 in terms of dollar sales. We're definitely benefiting from that in Canada. The number 4 in terms of dollar sales basically tells you that even though they were almost the highest number in terms of individual head units sold, they still came in at an effective or budget price point. And that budget price point is definitely what is attractive to customers. Customers are looking for excellent value. They're looking for the simple features such as CarPlay, Android Auto, and a reliable Bluetooth streaming and calling. So because of this, we're definitely doing really well, and we continue to see growth, even though we definitely saw a pickup during the pandemic when some of the tier ones couldn't deliver.
Now, moving forward, Dave, it seems like Boss Audio, Boss Elite has their thumb on the pulse of what dealers and, more importantly, what consumers are looking for as far as a feature set. How do you feel the dealers are reacting to this? What recommendation do you have for them to become the next Boss Elite dealer here in Canada?
You know, Ben, we definitely see Boss Elite continuing its trajectory for increased sales in Canada. During the pandemic, when supply was low, Boss was able to come to bat and save a lot of dealers. And once they got over that inertia of trying out what they initially thought was a flea market brand, they realized that the features that Boss brought to the market, such as Android Auto, CarPlay, Bluetooth streaming, those were the most desired features that customers were looking at. And Boss has listened to dealers as well, looking for additional features that are in demand, such as playback of FLAC files, 4-volt pre-up, as Javier said. And we're definitely looking forward to the addition of Sirius Satellite because, let's be honest, rural Canada, there's a lot of hours in between towns and people want to listen to their music and enjoy it. What we would recommend dealers do is, if you haven't tried Boss, give it a shot. Consumers are definitely looking to spend less. This is the reason why we see white box products coming in their stores. Why not offer them a product that fits their budget and is also backed by a bulletproof 3-year warranty? You got nothing to lose.
And there you have it. I want to give a quick shout out to our friends at Boss Audio, both Javier and Doug, for coming in today and sharing with us their knowledge, as well as my man Dave for coming in and giving us a little bit of Canadian perspective. For me, it's undeniable. The growth of this brand has been significant. They've seemed to figure out a great balance between features and value. And I think what they're doing between their map price protection as well as their warranty certainly deserves your attention for consideration. There's no doubt in my mind, these big screens is where it's at. It's what people want, and they're backing it up with the features to match. That's it for this CMA Connected, brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.